Turn it over to Eric Shaffrin to talk about Brighton Boulevard and program and project management.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Shaffrin. I'm a capital project director within the Office of the National Western Center with the city. Thank you, everybody, for coming out this morning. We're excited to have so many people in the room. This is a project that will not be built without the collective efforts of the entire Denver community and beyond. And I think with the collective push that will happen with everybody in this room, I think we can make this a standout project in the country and hopefully the world. So I'd like to talk quickly about two of the procurements that we have coming forward. We're in the enviable position of both being in planning and implementation while we're still building out our team, all at the same time. So I'll talk through one of our first procurements on design for Brighton Boulevard, which we will be designing and constructing within the next 2 years while we're still bringing on our team, as well as planning the overall campus. So in 2013, the city launched a process to plan the redevelopment of Brighton Boulevard. To orient you, on my right, your left here is Coors Field. You can see I-70 running diagonally there, and I-25 running along towards the left. And Brighton Boulevard coming all the way through down the center. The first segment of Brighton Boulevard from 29th to 44th has been designed, and construction is expected to begin this fall. And we will be launching the second segment of Brighton Boulevard, the National Western Center segment. The full complete design we are launching. We're writing the scope right now and bringing that RFP to the street in the coming months for the design from 44th to Race Court. So the goals of this are pretty straightforward. One, the Brighton Boulevard is truly the gateway into Denver from I-70. It is the last stretch of roadway in the corridor of opportunity as you're coming from DIA, from Denver International Airport to downtown. And that junction of I-70 and Brighton Boulevard is both our front door at the National Western Center for folks coming from the airport, as well as the first real entry into the city as you're coming off the highway. So we want to advance that design, that cohesive design for Brighton Boulevard that will take folks from DIA into the city. We also want to progress the implementation of the neighborhood plans, the Local Area Swansea neighborhood plans that were implemented that outline very specific goals related to redevelopment in the neighborhood. And we also want to progress the implementation of Phase 1 of the National Western Center. We have completed a 30% design that was completed in July of 2015. So what we will be launching an RFP for is the 100% design of a series of elements related to Brighton Boulevard. And we hope to align the construction of Brighton Boulevard with the construction and eventual opening of the new North Metro Line station, RTD station at 49th and Brighton. So very quickly, the elements that we will be putting forward in the RFP. The first blue section is Brighton from 44th to 47th. That section is under the purview of CDOT as part of the Central 70 project. So we will not actually be constructing it, and we will not be designing it fully, but we will be coordinating closely with CDOT on that design. The second segment of Brighton from 47th to Race Court, we will be taking to 100% design, as well as the bridge, the Brighton Boulevard Bridge over Race Court. We will be designing a bicycle path, a bicycle facility that bypasses the I-70 interchange that takes bicycle traffic around 44th to 47th and then back to Brighton Boulevard. We will be designing 49th Street from High to Brighton Boulevard to enable a lot of redevelopment within the community. And we hope to do conceptual design of what we call the Loop-Loop, which is a feature to get traffic from Race Court, which runs along the north end of National Western Center, underneath Brighton Boulevard, and then back to the roadway. So those are the primary elements of the design. Our schedule, we are finalizing the scope for this RFP as we speak. We hope to have that on the street within the next couple of months and have a selection towards the end of this year, in the November-December timeframe. Take the design through much of 2017, with bidding at the end of 2017 and construction through 2018, with the hopes of opening the station along in time with the North Metro. So the next The next RFP that we are launching right now and writing the scope for is for program and project management services. And this is for the overall National Western Center. As Gretchen outlined, we have a very small team, internal team, and our goal is to bring in expertise that will build out our project management team, that will enable us to see all the things that we don't currently see as it relates to the program to properly plan this campus. It's a highly complex campus, and we recognize that we do not have the expertise in-house, and we're looking forward to bringing on a team of experts with a myriad of expertise to help with all of the various projects that we know are part of this overall campus development. Some of those buckets of expertise are out here. This will all be fleshed out in the scope of work, and as Kelly mentioned, we have some one-pagers that we can hand out, and all of these are online. But we're looking for teams that have experience developing integrated campuses. We're looking for teams that have experience with net zero design and implementation. We're looking for teams that have expertise in venue design and expertise with the design of equestrian centers and livestock facilities. We're looking for folks who know how to integrate technology into campuses properly and effectively, and folks that have well-developed experience with contract negotiations. This is a team that will live within the National Western Center office, start their days in the Webb Building in downtown Denver, and eventually move with us out to a facility on this campus, and will be an extension of our team, helping us with the program level processes and procedures necessary to structure this redevelopment properly, as well as the specific implementation of projects. Folks that will lead the effort to design and construct the livestock facility and the equestrian facility, and the bridges that will bring it over into Florida. Schedule, we're developing the scope now with the hopes of having that scope approved by the Executive Oversight Committee of the National Western Center at the end of July. We will give plenty of time for proposal solicitation, and we will hold sessions with the industry to talk through the scope of work. Our goal is to harness the creativity of the private sector when it comes to the redevelopment of this. The city is fantastic at horizontal development, but this is a campus, an integrated campus, that requires the expertise that can only excel with the expertise of the private sector, and we want to harness that expertise of the private sector with this development. Selection in the October-November timeframe of this year with the hopes of notice to proceed at the beginning of 2017. Lastly, we do have other procurements that we're bringing forward in 2016. Our campus parking and mobility study to analyze circulation on the campus, to determine exactly how many parking spots we will need on campus, and to maximize the flow of patrons and back-of-house services through the campus. Our regeneration study, as I mentioned, we have multiple goals for this campus, and we'll be launching what we call our next step study to take the preliminary work and the regeneration framework that's outlined in the National Western Center Master Plan and turn that into a viable plan for district scale solutions to meet those net zero goals. We are in the midst of negotiations with Denver Rock Island Rail on the consolidation of the railroads in National Western, and pretty soon we will be launching a design effort to design that consolidated rail. We are also in the process of acquiring land, and with that acquisition will come remediation and demolition of the existing buildings, and so we will likely be launching some form of procurement for demolition services, particularly for some of the larger assets. So I'll now turn it over to Kelly Reed to discuss the campus placement.
Thank you. I'm going to be assisted here by Steve Nally. I could argue that the planning of something like this that brings together over 100 years of history honors that history, but at the same time is very forward-looking with modern buildings and a modern campus is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And campus placemaking is really what that exercise is all about. So later this year, so we anticipate releasing the campus placemaking RFQ in August of this year with an NTP sometime in early, we're hoping January, but early 17. It will be a 9 probably a 9 or 10 month process. And it really what it does is takes the master plan, which was adopted by City Council in March of 2015, which really, lays the vision for the campus, the alignment of buildings, some of the big ideas, and really drives the planning effort closer to the ground. It starts to really detail and affirm key aspects of the master plan. So this RFQ will have 3 components. One is about what we call our RTA program refinement. So again, our Regional Tourism Act application, the state which we were awarded, focuses in on 3 specific new facilities here on this campus that are going to help drive new tourism increment to the site. One is the new yards that will be flexible for year-round use. The second is the livestock center, and the third is the equestrian center. Those 3 assets really work together to form the basis of a lot of our growth and year-round use on this campus. So the first exercise that this selected team will do is go through and do some more detailed programming around those components and really start to hone in on space size and utility needs, those sorts of things, adjacencies within the buildings to make those buildings work, and then make the 3 facilities work together. The second is our public realm guidelines. I'm going to actually have Steve talk about this here in a second, but this is really about designing the spaces between the buildings. And then third is building design guidelines, the vertical development, materials, fenestrations, those sorts of things will be laid out in a set of guidelines. And these 3 documents together will then be used in package for us to go out to bid for the actual development of the individual buildings or bundling the buildings. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve and actually have Steve just kind of fill in some of the detail. Steve was our Deputy Director for Planning on the master planning effort and can speak pretty directly about the work ahead.
Thanks, Doug. Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Nowden, the Neighborhood Planning Supervisor in Community Planning and Development, and I'm very excited to be here. We talk a lot about the site and the campus, but really this is a place nested in Global Responsive neighborhoods. This is not just an inward-looking exercise, it's also an outward-looking exercise. It's about how does the visitor, what is the experience of the visitor, what is the experience of the neighborhood resident, the person traveling on the train. What does this place feel like when you arrive? Is it Las Vegas? No. It's not Disney World either. Really, there's nothing comparable in the world, and that's why this is such a huge opportunity to define this place and the experience when you arrive. So Kelly mentioned the public realm guidelines. There's a lot of public open space and vast spaces throughout the site. What are those places? How do they relate to the buildings they're next to? How do they relate to each other? Are they too big? Are they too small? What types of activities are taking place in those spaces? And then ultimately that will lead to a set of guidelines that the person, the developer building this space will use to implement the vision. The same goes for the building design as well. There needs to be a guide for what these buildings look like. How do they relate to the historic buildings? What cues are they taking from from this building? Maybe not so much this building. 1916 building, but this place needs to be authentic. It needs to reflect on its past, and those guidelines will help us in defining how those buildings do just that.
And I would just add this, one, if you've not read the master plan, you need to. And you need to read that first, and then you need to read the RTA, because the RTA application really talks about the events, right? This is an entertainment district, right? This is it's one of the key components of the site. So the work, the campus placemaking work, will think a lot about not just the spaces themselves, but what's the relationship of the inside and outside spaces, but also, as a former events guy, the relationship between the front of house experience and the challenge with a campus like this is there are no back doors, right? There's not a back of house. So how do you make the place operate in a way that's safe For, if you spend any time at the National Western today, there's a lot of activity going on with people walking between trailers and around cattle, and that's most certainly part of the experience. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the front of house and back of house experience are separated and independent from one another, but also connected to one another. So there's a ton of work. I mean, we could spend an hour just talking about this RFQ, but needless to say, it will be a team, probably a relatively large team that we will select, led by an entity that will literally meet. We will be meeting weekly for the better part of a year, and what will come out of it is a document or set of documents that really help us guide the implementation of the project. The other thing, and I want to really emphasize this that Steve talked about, is obviously there'll be a lot of attention on the planning of the campus itself, but we've got to also honor the relationship of the adjoining neighborhoods, Globeville to the west, and Larry Swansea to the east, to the river, which right now most people don't even realize the river is here. We have almost a mile of the South Platte River, and we're going to move the rail out of the way to re-engage the river. But how does the river play an important role? The Northside Park, Heller Open Space, just north of the site, 84 acres of land that we have an opportunity to connect this campus to as a really cool open space, park type setting, natural area sort of setting, the transit station, the old Coliseum site, and then obviously the new and improved Bright Boulevard. So there's a lot in here, and one of the things that I would close on this one around is just the the National Western Stock Show is a Colorado treasured asset. So there will be a fair amount of external engagement, and one of the ideas would be is that we would go to some of the county fairs next year, get feedback, certainly in the Front Range and maybe even on the plains, because we're really trying to create a bridge between the rural and urban interests around agriculture. And so we need to make sure we're reaching out to those folks that actually live in ag every day, and that this is a place for them as well. So, like I said, I could spend a lot of time talking about it. This is probably one of the most exciting things we'll do. No offense to any other parts of what we're trying to do, but this is what's going to help us bring this campus to life. You want to add anything? Okay. All right. Hannah, come on up.